So there's no UFC this weekend, but there's 2 Bellator events and a PFL 9 tournament to look out for. You got Mitrione versus Bellator on Friday. You got Fedor versus Sonnen on Saturday. And also on Saturday is that PFL 9 tournament with some decent fights to look out for. So I'm going to break down this card, give my picks on who I think is going to win, and give you a preview of all the fights coming up this weekend. Kicking it off on Friday, we got Mitrione versus Bellator in Bellator 207. Mitrione, a heavyweight staple, came from the UFC, in Bellator now, beat Fedor not that long ago. Ryan Bader, the light heavyweight champion, moving up to heavyweight to try and win this tournament. Ryan Bader is actually my bet to win this whole tournament. His wrestling is way better than most of these guys. He's younger, and his striking has been getting better and better the more he's been fighting in Bellator. So I'm going to go with Ryan Bader on this one, and I actually think he's going to win the whole tournament. Then you got Roy Nelson versus Sergey Kharitonov. This one's going to be a shootout. I got Roy Nelson on that one. You also have Lawrence Larkin on the card with Ian Pascu. Lawrence Larkin only loses to the best of the best. I got Lawrence Larkin winning this one. You've also got Baby Slice on the card, Kimbo Slice's son, still 3-1 early in his career, but definitely one of the promotion's favorite fighters to promote and favorite upcoming fighters. And you got Carrington Banks versus Mandel Nalo. Nalo 6-0, Carrington Banks 7-1. He dropped that one loss to Piccolotti, but Carrington Banks is a great fighter. I'm gonna go with Banks on that one. Then on Saturday, you got Fedor versus Chael Sonnen, a badass fight, badass matchup. I got Fedor on that one. They're both older, both past their prime, but Fedor's explosiveness, I think, gives him the edge. He's got way better striking than Chael, and then Chael's been busy with outside of fighting stuff. He's got his podcast, he's got Ariel's show, you know, all of his YouTube stuff. He's busy on all kinds of things promoting. I don't think he's that focused on fighting. Like Fedor is kind of all he does. So I got Fedor on this one. I think if Chael does get him down at all, he'll be able to explode right out of it and get the knockout. So Fedor Emelianenko by second round TKO. First or second round TKO. Then you got Benson Henderson also on the card versus Sadawad. Benson Henderson, he's been kind of up and down recently, but he only loses to the best of the best. He only loses to the best in the UFC, and he only loses to the best in Bellator. So Sadawad, he's been trying to get some wins, but he's been kind of up and down. I think Benson Henderson wins just because he's fought better competition. I think he's just a little bit higher level than Sadawad has beaten. You also got Alexander Shlemenko versus someone who a lot of people probably don't know about, Anatoly Tokov. He's one of Russia's biggest prospects outside of the UFC and outside of Bellator. So look out for that. I got Anatoly Tokov by first round TKO. I think he's going to come out guns blazing on this one, especially against Shlemenko, who's also a really great striker. Then you got Chet Congo also in this card versus Timothy Johnson, and Henry Corrales versus Andy Main. Henry Corrales, I think, is someone to look out for too, and he could probably put on a really good performance. And on Saturday, you got the PFL 9 tournament. I've been really excited about PFL. I think it's a cool format. These tournaments are pretty cool. On this night, the fighters are going to have to fight twice. It's the lightweight quarterfinals and semifinals rounds, and the light heavyweight quarterfinals and semifinal rounds. So there's some fighters to look out for that you might recognize. There's also some fighters that you probably never heard of. A lot of Russian fighters coming out. So first couple, you have a couple alternate fights just in case something drops off. You got Will Brooks from the UFC coming over against Rashid Magomedov. Will Brooks is a great fighter. Will Brooks is high level, one of the better fighters. He gets caught making a few mistakes. He gets decision losses, so he's not a bad fighter. But I've got Rashid Magomedov winning the whole thing. So I got Rashid on that one versus Will Brooks. Moving on to the semifinals. Then you got Maxim Grishin versus Smelino Rama. I don't really know either of those fighters. Islam Mamedov is someone who I think is going to be another dark horse too. So look out for Islam versus Thiago Tavares from the UFC. Dan Spahn versus Sean O'Connell. That's another light heavyweight quarterfinal fight. The one fighter that I've got winning this whole light heavyweight quarterfinals or the whole light heavyweight tournament, Vinny Magalhaes. He's big jiu-jitsu guy. Enemy of Renato Larange, and I've got him winning the light heavyweight. His jiu-jitsu is next level, way above all the rest of these guys. He's won worlds, he's won plenty of tournaments, and having that tournament experience, he thinks is going to help him with this because he's got to fight twice in a night, and in jiu-jitsu, you will have multiple matches in a night. That's not the same as an MMA fight. Hopefully he doesn't get too hurt in the first rounds, but I think he's going to be someone that's going to win this whole thing. And playing it safe, using jiu-jitsu, not just sitting out there and slugging it out with these guys, will keep him safe moving through the rounds. So Vinny Magalhaes wins that one, and I think Rashid Magomedov wins the lightweight quarterfinal fights. So look out for those PFL ones. Those are great. And these Bellator fights, awesome. Bellator's been doing great things. This is going to be the last fight on Paramount Network before they move to DAZN. So I'm sure they're trying to just go out with a bang on this one. So awesome fights. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. You can follow me on Facebook, the Undercard MMA. You can go to Twitter, MMA Undercard, Instagram, MMA Undercard, all that stuff. Please like, share, subscribe. It really helps out. So thanks, guys. See y'all next week.